Thank you, Loza, and hello and good evening, or as well as good afternoon, everyone who are watching this workshop. So it was amazing watching the presentation of my previous panelist, and you guys were amazing, and your energy was just fantastic. And I really liked your presentation. So here I'm going to begin my presentation, and I'm going to present my presentation. Before I start my presentation, I'm sharing the screen. So today I'm going to share my presentation on the youth response to the COVID-19 through social media communication with the view of South-South cooperation. So the novel coronavirus, we all know, has become a global pandemic affecting the challenging lives of millions of people and communities all over the world. From the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, one of the defining messages has been that older persons are more affected. Yet, health and non-health impacts on young people are proving to be significant, and youth are also at risk of contracting and transmitting the coronavirus. As the world grapples with unprecedented challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, young people are demonstrating their continued leadership in their communities and countries. According to a new UN plan to address COVID-19, young people are some of the most affected by the pandemic's socioeconomic impacts. Nevertheless, young people are a key group in the context of this pandemic and share in the collective responsibility to help us stop the transmission. A common understanding of the impact of coronavirus and the role young people are playing in driving solution is essential to the pandemic response. Not only are they on the frontliners as health workers, but they are also advancing health and safety in their roles as researchers, activists, innovators, and communicators. As such, decision makers must commit to ensuring youth voices are part of the solutions for a healthier, safer, and gender equal world. Yeah, social media communication as a platform for youth. In today's world, the youth generation is more connected through technology. We all know that. And than any other generation in human history, today's generation is more engaged in social medias. A full 70% are online, putting them at the forefront of internet adoption. They are interacting with an average number of 5 digital platforms such as Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, WeChat, and Instagram daily. And though there are numerous debates on the merits and demerits of youth engagement in social media can play a significant role to reach out to the majority population of the community. And now we're going to talk about the COVID-19 and new normal. Adolescents and youth are one of the major portion of the world's population who have gone through the most vulnerable situation due to this pandemic. As my previous panelist already discussed about that, how it affects the adolescents. And the pandemic poses considerable risk in their fields of education, employment, mental health, and disposable income. The introduction of emergency measures and lockdown across the world have closed civic space and stopped young people physically getting together to organize. But it has not stopped their efforts to create change. It has just moved them online and adapting a new normal. Thus, social media communication opened a new gateway to engage the youth to continue their activities via online. So, how those youth responded to COVID-19 via social media. So, as the social media has become a source of distribution of information to the public during the COVID-19 pandemic, many individuals have experienced isolation in hospital or while quarantining at home. In this situation, social media has been the only source of information. Social media is an effective resource of information and an effective and efficient way of gathering necessary knowledge for medication and treatment. Youths, as we all know, that youths are a key group in the context of this pandemic and share in the collective responsibility to help and stop the transmission. The urgent need for young people to be better supporting in their engagement with social media is even more significant now during the COVID-19. Social media has not only become an important resource for socializing and learning, but also for wider physical and mental well-being. The advancement of social media disclosures has numerous merits and demerits to prevent and control contagious diseases like COVID-19 pandemic. And I would like to shed lights on some of the highlights of youth response to COVID-19, mostly in Bangladeshi cases. So there were some of them are contact tracing and coronavirus global and local update, providing updated information on COVID dedicated hospitals and ICU availability, and oxygen and other medical support, online consultancy for COVID patients, and giving instructions towards the patient caregivers how to take care of the patients. And other than that, combating the spread of misinformation, which the first keynote speaker talked about, how the misinformation spread so quickly around our communities and societies and overall the world. And lastly, the arrangements of funerals of the deceased COVID patients. So youths are engaging and engaged in those activities during this COVID-19 through social media communication platform. And now I would like to go to the recommendations and further plan for youth to respond to COVID-19 through South-South cooperation. As COVID-19 threats cannot be successfully addressed independently by one country, region, or continent, thus promoting South-South triangular cooperation activities can address the threats and involve the youth to respond to COVID-19. And while the COVID-19 response will need to address priorities and needs of adolescents and youth, they should not only be considered as affected populations, but also as highly effective partners in COVID-19 efforts. Involving youth through South-South cooperation can create innovative solutions generated by developing countries for the benefit of the developing countries. And government and stakeholders of the developing countries need to be encouraged to value adolescents and youth, approach them as equals, respect their views, and leverage their added value to the response. Working alongside young people will help bridge intergenerational divides and promote solidarity between age groups. So using social media platforms for creating productions for the youth and of South-South countries can act and eliminate technological obstacles for producing creative outcomes by using social media disclosures. As we all know, digital literacy support for youth should aim to help them to critically evaluate the relevance of health-related information for their own and other people's life, as well as developing the digital skills to navigate social media sites so they can understand and offer appropriate support to the young people. Therefore, the government's appropriate policies for the proliferation of cybersecurity laws are mandatory for dealing with the misuse of social media that usually misguides people. So this was my presentation today, but before I end my presentation, I would like to share a short film where 250 young filmmakers across the globe shared the stories of compassion and unity amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. And this is, I think, one of the best example of using social media communication as a platform by youths to respond to COVID-19 and to show how the world is reacting and how the world is showing compassionate kindness towards this COVID-19 situation. So